Okay, so I prepared my data for importation, and I'm going to go ahead and just create the database and at least one of the tables. I'm just going to create the big data table. That's the one I want to start with because if I have any troubles, I'll know right away with the import. I don't expect any troubles unless I planned it poorly or unless I've got a really, really huge data set. You know, if you're getting upwards of 100,000 entries, then things can start choking a little bit. But first thing that I'm going to do, as you know, before creating a database, generally what you do is you do a drop database if exists, and I'm going to call mine book trader or what have you. Let me go ahead and zoom in for you guys a little bit here. There we go. So drop table if it exists, boom, and can't drop database. Database does not exist. That's okay. It's just a little bit of a warning. That's why you put if exists up in here. And then we're going to do a create database book trader. And of course you do whatever is the name of your app. And then important here, do use book trader or whatever it is, it's your app name, right, that you just created. If you forget to do this, then and you're not paying attention to the errors down here or whatever, it's definitely won't give you errors. Like if you, the next thing is to create a table. So if you don't do this, you're going to be creating a table in some other database. So like you're putting a table into AP or Orchestra or something like that. Okay, so use book trader, see it down here, happy. Let's go ahead and create the table. So looking at the data in another screen here, and I've got create table. And by the way, some people would do like drop table if exists before creating it, and we can do that, but I already know that I already know the table doesn't exist. It's a brand new database, right? So create table and calling mine books. Yours could be cards or manga or whatever makes the most sense. And you guys know right off the bat, we got to start with an auto incrementing primary key. So I'm going to do the ID and the data type first, int not null, auto increment, primary key, like so. And then go ahead and put in the rest of the stuff that you planned for. So I've got a title for my book. This is going to be varchar. I'll go ahead and just use the 45s for all of them just to keep things simple. And I'm going to go ahead and copy that since I'm likely to reuse it. Varchar 45. And then let's see, I need an author last name and paste. And then I need an author first name, paste. And what else? Okay, I have the number of pages. And this is going to be an int. And let's say we just decided that is supposed to be not null, not 2, but int not null. And I should probably put not null, actually, now that I think about it, on author last name as well. I'm not going to put it on first name because maybe some authors only use one name for a pin name. I don't know. But at least the author last name, I'll put not null on there. And oh yeah, the title, I suppose that better be not null as well. You see some of the stuff you don't think about until it's actually time to do it. And then hopefully you remember in time before you create it. And if not, of course, you can modify the table. You can alter the table and modify columns after that. But anyway, number of pages, int not null, and then we have that weird stock thing that I don't know what it is, but it's an integer, and since I don't know what it is, I'm going to make it nullable. So let me double check this, make sure there's commas in the right places. See, I missed one here. It's a very common error for me, and there's not a comma after the last one. I've got the title of this is another common one for me. I just do create table, just kind of expecting it to magically know what I want to name it. Yeah, I think we're good. Let's go ahead and do Control Enter and see if I get an error here. And boom, it liked it. Cool. And now it's probably about time to go over and refresh the navigator and take a look at the tables. And there's my books table. And if I go to the I here, they get to the table inspector, I can go to columns and check everything. Everything looks fine. And it's time to import our data. So MySQL Workbench actually makes this really easy. It's just that there are a few options that are available when you hand code it that are not available in their little wizard import wizard thing. So anyway, I can go up to any place on tables or the specific table. I think I can even go up to the name of the database here, and I do a right click, and there somewhere underneath will be table data import wizard. So I just right clicked on the database. If I right-click on the tables here, and there it is again. If I right-click on the table itself, and there it is again, it's all does the same thing. So don't worry about which one you're grabbing, as long as it says Table Data Import Wizard. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And I'm going to select, oops, hopefully you guys can see this, and let me just cancel that because I just did some weird wonky stuff here. Hang on a second, let me go ahead and try that again. I'm going to the Table Data Import Wizard, and I'm just going to pop over to Logitech here and make sure it's actually grabbing the same right thing, and it's not. So let's see if I can select the proper thing here. And I don't think I can, so I'm just going to switch over to the entire screen here. There we go. So sorry about the recursive record there, but yeah, we're looking at this guy right here. Let me cover some of this up if I can. Yeah, let's move it over. So this is the data table import wizard right here that I just opened up from right-clicking on the table over there. So first thing you want to do, naturally enough, is browse to find your data here. Mine is under Unit 6, and there it is. There's the books abridged. Make sure you get the one that you fixed and not the original. And CSV, open it up, and click on Next. And here's where you have a selection here to use an existing table, or you can create a new table for you. Just use the existing table. Make sure it says the one that you just created if you have more than one. I'll show you why at the end of the recording here, why this is not a good idea to create a new table. Click on Next, and then you get to this place where you can select the columns, and you do want to look through these. Don't assume that the columns in your CSV spreadsheet will automatically map onto the correct columns in your database. In fact, if you're paying attention here and taking a look, you might see a little issue that I created on purpose in order to show that that happens. The author first name and the author last name I put in a different order in the MySQL table. So I've got to make sure, like, oh, whoops, crap, those are not in the right order. So author first, go ahead and change the destination column to author first name, and then author last, change the column destination to the last name. This is another reason why it's good to go ahead and make sure that your columns have names in your spreadsheet so that you can easily match them up without having to go back and forth and back and forth. So book ID becomes ID, title, first, last, number of pages, stock. Okay, it looks good now. I'm going to go ahead and click on Next. And at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and next through. This is actually the place, if there is a place to say, tell it to ignore or to not ignore the first line, it would be under Prepare Import here. But I'm going to go ahead and just do Next for right now. And click on Next. And finish. And let's go back to here. And it shows up the green thing. Let's see, including inserting, blah, blah, blah. Let's go ahead and just do select all. See what happened here. So select all from books. All right, control enter, and there we go. There's the stuff. Yay! It's all in the right columns, and that is, I remember the blah, blah, blah. That is the first entry, and I've got 10 entries, 10 rows returned. Yay! We've got this stuff imported. So that's as far as you need to go. You're good to go with it at this point. But let me just show you what it looks like if you try to import into an existing table. So you guys definitely do not need to do this part. I'm just showing you what this looks like. So I'm going to take this whole code block where we created books, and I'm going to create another table, and I'm going to call this one books no headers, or no, what do I call it? I'll call it testing. It doesn't really matter what I call it because, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. We're doing not from an existing book. I was thinking of a different demo. Hang on. Command Z, Control Z, get back here. So actually this time I don't need to copy that because I'm going to be trying to import this into an existing, or get it to create a table for me. So let's go ahead and try it here. So I'm going to go over here and right click and do the table data import wizard. And I'm going to grab the books abridged again and click on Next. And this time I'm going to let it create a new table for me. And it's going to call it books abridged, right? It's going to give it the same name unless I change it to something else. Click on Next. And then This time, let's just go ahead and click on Next Through. There's nothing here to really worry about because it's creating the columns for us, right? So I'll just click on Next and Next our way through until we get to the Finish button, and kaboom, we've got it. We refresh over here, and there's the Books Abridged. So we may have some problems here right off the bat. To start with, let's go ahead and just do a select all from Books Abridged, like so. Control Enter, and I get an error message. Why? Well, you can't put hyphens here in your in your references. I'd have to put this into quotes of some kind in order to make it work. So that's already a problem. I would already want to rename this table to something else if I forgot to do it on import. So I put it into quotes and now it works. But let's go ahead and take a look at the table inspector for both of these. So here's books, and I'll go to columns, and there they are. And then I'm going to do the same thing for Books Abridged, hit the little I, and then go to columns. Now when I go here, it's all as expected. I've got my data tapes here, the bar chart, and so on. I go over here to Books Abridged, and the data types are all, they're different, right? I've got text, 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 and I've said before that you guys should be using varchar instead of text. It's the best thing if you have, well, variable amount of characters and you know they're going to fit within a certain amount of space total. It's just more efficient, it's easier to use, better performance, more flexible. It can be fully indexed. That's a big one, actually, that I forgot about before. You can't really do with text. So the other thing is there's no primary key. Look at what it did. It imported book ID as text because I didn't have any values in it. But even if I had put values in there, it might be able to figure out, okay, this is an integer, but it still would not have made it a primary key, and it certainly wouldn't have auto-incremented it for me. So these are all problems. Could they be fixed at this point? Yeah, absolutely. It's fixable. Do you want to? I don't know about you, but I don't want to. I'd rather get that stuff done beforehand. I would rather create the table so I know it's right the first time and then import the data into that table. So that's just to show you why I definitely do not recommend in the import wizard allowing it to create a table for you. And if you do and you don't fix that stuff afterwards and you turn it in, I'll know because it'll look like this, and that's not good. Okay, so I think that's it for now. Doing the other tables, like the user table and then the user-specific table, you guys know how to do that, right? That's not a big deal. Just go, if you have trouble, look back at Chapter 11 or just this recording, right? Because I'm doing the same kind of stuff here. So I'll stop there.